Welcome to Season 4 of John McGivern's Main Streets.
With an attitude like that, you're never going to make it to the majors.
The Main Streets podcast takes you behind the scenes of this popular PBS Wisconsin program. Now, get the inside scoop on this week's episode from host John McGivern and Emmy Fink and the Main Streets producer and director Lois Maurer.
Just got off the boat. SS Badger. This is how we got to work. We took the Badger from Manitowoc, Wisconsin to Ludington, Michigan, which was episode 12 of season 4 of John McGivern's Main Streets. Hi, Lois.
Hi, John.
I'm so glad we got on the Badger.
I'm so glad you didn't get sick on the Badger.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's a big enough boat. Hey, Emmy.
Hi, John.
Did you like the Badger?
Loved it. First time. It's a little slower than the Lake Express, which we did last year, but loved it.
Yeah. Hey, Lance.
Hi there.
It's your episode, Ludington, Michigan.
And I did not get to go on the boat.
You didn't get it? Oh, no.
Because when we do the site survey, the location scout at the beginning of the spring, the boat wasn't running yet. So I'm very excited to hear your stories about the boat because I was dying to go on it, but I didn't get to go.
Well, it was an interesting ride on the boat. The ride back was a little better, and it's not better or worse. It's just that on the ride there, you realize that we had the John McGivern's Main Streets bus tour. 2 buses, 88 people were with us on the Badger, and you arranged so I would be calling bingo.
That's right.
The
That's how
Badger.
much I don't like you.
So there were the 88 people who were with us, who were taking the tour, and then I called. Both Emmy and I called.
Yeah,
So we only had to call one session,
Right.
and then we spent the rest of the time on the Badger shooting because the Badger is one of our subjects. It's one of our segments.
Right,
So-
in Ludington, because its real home base is Ludington, Michigan.
Right.
But it drives from Ludington to Manitowoc, Wisconsin. So we, from Milwaukee, just drove up to Manitowoc, got on the Badger, all of our gear, all of our cars, and all of the bus. And the people on the buses got on the Badger and went across the lake. And so we used it as a segment in the show as well, because that is one, and we keep calling it a boat, but I
No,
think
it's a ship.
It's a ship.
Right.
Yeah. And it's like, and there's a lot of activities like the bingo because
Yes.
it's like a 4-hour ride, right?
Yep, 4 hours. And it was a beautiful day. We were really lucky on the Badger both ways. We had gorgeous weather.
Not that we got to do this, but I was so impressed that they had chase lounges out there for people. The amount of people that I saw bring their own blanket, their own pillow, put their sunglasses on, and lay out in the sun for 4 hours. I mean, I was looking out like, now if we weren't here working, that's where I would be.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking the whole time.
Yeah. While he was working.
They have rooms that you can get on the Badger that have like bunks in them. So if people are traveling, you can literally get your own private room.
And you've got to try it, Lance.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yes.
Well, now that we know, I mean, you go over on the boat and then you get off on the west coast of Michigan and drive from there wherever we want to go. I think it should be our method,
yeah.
right,
Yeah.
for our
For sure.
Michigan episodes, because you just going around the traffic in Chicago makes it a really long day. So even if you're on the boat, you're not driving, you're not stressed, you are just
You're playing bingo.
you're playing bingo,
Right.
you're having lunch, and then you're refreshed when you get to Michigan.
One of the best things about the boat is that, a lot of marinas there in the middle of nowhere. When you get off the SS Badger in Ludington, you are right in their downtown.
Yeah. And their downtown is sweet.
It
Yes.
is.
It's cute, it's quaint, it's busy.
Yeah.
I loved it.
It's kind of 2 streets that are the main streets.
Right. They kind of
One
come to a
goes
T.
east and one goes,
North and south.
Yeah.
One goes east and west. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
and we got off the boat or the ship, and we then drove. I drove my car and drove for 3 minutes to get to where we were staying, which was the Cartier Mansion.
Yes, the Cartier Mansion is it's a mansion, or actual mansion that has been converted to a B&B. And there's actually 2 different properties. And Jenna and Chris, who run the Cartier, are top notch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's such a beautiful property. This is one of those places we absolutely can never afford to stay. Absolutely not. And Lance was kind enough to say, she asked, where are you guys staying? And we were like, well, it'll be some hotel out in the suburbs or wherever. And she was like, I'll meet your rate. And so we were able to stay at the Cartier for our normal rate that we pay hotels. And it was such a godsend.
Yeah.
Not only was the food incredible, you have to admit,
Yeah.
unbelievable. Step up when it comes to cuisine for sure. But the place is so well done.
Well, they had just gotten back from like a trip to France. And so when they came out and like was telling us about the breakfast, I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't quite realize and understand all the words, culinary words he was using, but I was impressed
Yeah.
And full.
and full.
Yeah, and they are only the fourth owners of the house and only the second to run it as a B&B.
Yeah.
So much of the original house is preserved. And it was the perfect place to put in the show because it was owned by one of the lumber barons. It was the lumber industry that really put Ludington on the map. And what makes Ludington unique is, we go to a lot of places where lumber was big, but we never put it on the show because there's nothing left to show for it. Because once the lumber people take all the lumber, they
Leave.
move and start a new town, right? But the lumber barons of Ludington loved it so much that they stayed and brought infrastructure and electricity and roads and all that sort of stuff. And this is one of the classic mansions of one of those lumber barons.
And it's Cartier.
Cartier.
It's spelled exactly like Cartier, right? But there's a big, in Ludington, if you say Cartier, you will be corrected very quickly.
That's correct.
Because they all knew the Cartier family. It is the same family back a couple of generations, but when they got here, they Americanized it and called themselves Cartier.
Yeah.
And lumber is really the history. So
Yeah.
we spent some time in a place called the White Pine Village.
Do you remember the weather at the White Pine?
It was bad, but
It
we
was
made it work, didn't we? It was pouring.
Oh.
But,
The day we went to shoot it with the interviews was pouring rain, and these are metal roofs, and we were underneath this metal roof where the mill is and what. The interview was fantastic because the gentleman who showed us around is just, he was really good. So, but we didn't have time to shoot all the B-roll that day. So we thought Brian and I were staying one extra day, so we're going to go back to White Pine Village to shoot the B-roll, and it was pouring that day too. So Ludington's weather was not my favorite episode of the season. Definitely not.
Yeah.
content-wise, it was
Great.
great.
Yeah.
But there was some weather.
Yeah, and really it'll just be us dealing with it. I don't think the audience really is like, oh no, I won't go there because it rained.
Right.
If it rains when we're there, we deal with it. That's
Right.
what happened when we were there. So, and it's a lovely downtown. The people were really kind,
And White Pine Village had some images that really need to be shared, which is all
Oh,
of
yeah.
these lumber camps
Right.
and these images of just exactly how it worked. And it was like, wow, this is
hard life.
hard life.
Yeah, and they have the original tools there, and a couple of the buildings were the bunkhouses for those
Lumberjacks,
workers,
they were
for the
the-
lumberjacks,
yeah, they were the
and those are
camp.
preserved. And that, and like I said, most of the towns those usually get destroyed as the lumber people leave town, but they are
Right.
preserved there. So, and it's an amazing part of American history, and
Yeah.
I learned so much while we were there.
Yeah.
And I think that you learn history differently than you learn new stuff, because history was fascinating for us at the White Pine Village. I loved all the stories, but I kind of knew, right? You took
Right.
history classes. What I did not know anything about was the Ludington power plant.
Holy cow!
Come on, Lance. That was a find.
Whoosh! It is amazing. Basically, what it is, it uses gravity to generate electricity. It's this huge man-made basin, and every day they suck a bunch of water out of Lake Michigan and put it in this man-made basin. I think it was something like 37 billion gallons. It is the size of Central Park in New York. It is like about a 5-mile circumference around this. And then every night they let the water go back into Lake Michigan. That turns the turbines and makes electricity for that whole area. It is
1.8
breathtaking.
million customers.
It's absolutely breathtaking. It is mind-bogglingly huge, if that's a
But
word.
when you drive up in Ludington, it looks like a landfill, right?
Yeah, you're like, oh, that's
we
probably
thought it
local landfill.
was.
Yeah,
we were
that's what we
driving, we're
thought.
trying to find this to meet the people who
Yeah.
were going to show us around at the site survey. And I was like, well, obviously we're above a landfill. And Lance is like, I'm not sure that is. And then we
Yeah.
had to go up to the top.
Yeah.
and see the lake. And we do that in the episode as well. We got right to the rim.
Yeah.
It's an inland lake.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
and
amazing.
the way, so like I said, gravity pulls the water back in, and that helps make the energy. So it's free energy, and which begs the question, why aren't these everywhere?
Right.
Right. And what they told us was, well, first of all, a lot of places you need a big lake, number one. And then people like to have the lakefront. They like to put beaches and restaurants on lakefronts, not power plants.
Right.
So there's a lot of people who don't want to give up that land. And it's really expensive to make it. It's like 50 years old.
Yeah.
So they made it when it was a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a lack of vision because it's kind of hard to sort of visualize, right? But even with that, I think there are 20 of them that are currently being planned in the United States. And I think there's about 100 of them being
Yes.
planned in China right now.
Oh.
That's what he told us.
Yeah.
That's what he told us because the economics of it long term make great sense.
It really does
And
make,
it's clean. It's
Yeah.
completely clean.
yeah,
And completely free.
and the pumps they use are the largest pumps of its kind in the country. And during the summer they can do it twice a day and run everybody's air conditioners. It's fascinating to look at.
Wow. That is
When you saw it
so
on
neat.
your sheet, you must have been like, what are they doing?
No, because right after you came home from the site survey, you were like, you are not going to believe this thing.
Oh, I tipped you off.
You did. And it was like, oh, I look forward to it. And of course, then I dug around
Yeah.
on my own to be like, wait, how does this work?
Yeah,
And why
yeah.
isn't this everywhere?
Yeah.
Why don't we have this in Milwaukee? We're on the other side. And why aren't we,
Right?
providing our electricity from something that's like this? And it's because who wants to give up their lakefront?
Right. And you have to buy it because it's so huge. You have to buy the land from 30 or 40 different people, and then
Yeah,
there's environmental impact and all that sort of stuff. But like you said, in the long term, it's
Yeah.
totally worth it.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
We had a lot of laughs at the disc golf capital of the U.S.,
Sure, you can call it that.
Yeah.
right? Truly known for disc golfing.
God, we were good.
You should have seen us out there. We went rogue out in the wilderness with
Yeah.
our frisbees. Not frisbees.
Oh, don't
They're
say
not
that.
Frisbees.
discs. With our putter and our driver and our
Crazy.
mid-ranger.
But what was interesting to me was there are disc golf courses around Wisconsin. We've
Sure.
been to a couple for,
Esterbrook Park.
and up in Sheboygan and that.
Yeah.
This didn't look anything like that, did it?
No, this was,
It was in the middle of a forest.
it was.
There was
And
a lot of trees
hills.
getting
I mean, like
ricocheted off.
some of those hills we had to climb
Yeah.
was legit.
Yeah.
Well, and it turns out that there were 2 options on each of the holes, just so you know, or the cages. And when we found out that we took the long haul, like there were short ones that we were like, first
Right,
of
we
all,
had
were
no
like,
idea.
Where's the cage?
Right.
No, I guess I'll just.
Right. No, it was literally like golfing a long par 4 golf hole for
Right.
sure. No, we could not
I was
see.
so glad that you weren't very good at it either.
No, not very good. I really, in my head, think I can toss this disc anywhere I want to, and it's not that
No.
easy. It's not. But I had a ton of fun with you.
It was fun.
That was very fun.
Yeah, it's kind of like pickleball in a way that it's that kind of this offshoot of a game you already know.
Yeah.
And they have national tournaments there. They have one of the largest courses in the country there, and there's like more disc golf courses in a certain radius than anywhere else. So it's a big deal there.
Yeah. And of course, we were tired, so we had to stop in for some ice cream.
Why not? House of Flavors
And
is
House of
famous.
Flavors. Famous.
Yes.
And been there talk about history.
Yeah.
Been there forever.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's like the first place they said the owner of House of Flavors told us that they have called a boat rush because when the Badger comes in, boom, it's packed.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah. And always been like that.
Yeah.
And the images that they have all over their walls from the 50s and 60s
All
and
the
70s.
straw wrappers stuck to the ceiling. That
Right.
was really fun. Life magazine did a
And
whole
flavors.
spread on
What
it.
flavors did we have, Lois?
Okay, now, Lance, I have to tell you the story because on the sheets you were like, this is one of the places that invented Blue Moon.
Yeah, they popularized Blue Moon.
Right. And so I'm saying to John, as we're going over there, we've got to talk about Blue Moon. And I tell you, the look he gave me, he was like, I am not talking about Blue Moon. All you want is for me to get that ice cream in my mouth, and I'll have a big blue tongue, and you're going to make me stick out my tongue.
Well, because every place we go has invented Blue Moon.
Sure.
This is the third place that we've been to that has invented Blue Moon.
Right, yeah.
Why are we doing Blue Moon again?
I
So
don't
he was
know.
adamant. We walked in there, right? I mean, it was, I am not doing this. I am not doing this. Okay, then
It was a whole different Blue Moon.
it was delicious.
It was a creamier, less tasting like bubble gum,
Right.
not just for kids Blue Moon. So
Wow.
can I tell you? They invented Blue Moon.
Wow. Very good.
I'm
Now,
so glad we covered it.
And it's an ice cream factory too. They make ice cream. It's attached right to the restaurant.
right.
And so they actually have a big
Because
ice
it
cream
started
factory.
as an ice cream.
Factory.
Factory.
And it's an offshoot. And now they're kind of separate, but they still have this relationship.
Right.
It's a little hard to describe, but
House of Flavors in
Yeah.
Ludington. You can't miss it because
Yeah.
in the middle of the summer, you'll know where it is because that's where the big line is.
that's right.
Line out the door, down
That's
the
right.
block towards the.
And the fun neon. They have a really
Yeah.
good exterior, so a lot of fun neon on there.
I don't have FOMO at all, Lance.
Yeah.
Thanks for not sending
Yeah.
me.
Well, it is it's a little related to something you did because at House of Flavors, they have a Sunday named after the local photographers who you got to meet, right? Or did John meet the photographers?
Oh, you went into the photographer.
Yes.
Remember, you guys, you're still there
It was
also.
a stand-up
Right.
that turned into
Some-
an interview, which is
Todd-
great.
Todd and Brad Reed
Todd
are
and Brad
famous,
Reed.
especially
Father
in
and
Ludington.
son,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and son's girlfriend
And couldn't have been nicer.
or
And
fiance wife.
their stuff is
something.
absolutely stunning. I mean,
And you see it everywhere
Yes.
in Ludington.
all the
Everybody
restaurants
uses
have
it.
yes, everybody uses it because it's iconic. It's all scenics,
Yeah.
of the dunes and the sand and the lake. It is just stunning.
And it was Lois who suggested it because you can get little touristy souvenirs anywhere, but what if you go in there and you get a really high quality photograph or a book or something that they make there.
Yeah.
And it'll remind you of that area forever.
Yeah.
Because you get to see it when you're there too.
And the
you know?
dad, Todd, he's in the Life magazine photo that's at House of Flavors.
Yeah, he's
When
in
he
it.
was a kid, when he's 4 years old,
Oh.
he's in that photo.
How fun is that?
Yeah,
Yeah. That was
Ludington
mentioned. I
locals.
remember that.
yeah.
It's all tied together.
And we did our factory that we visited,
Yeah.
Floracraft,
Yes.
Which you know,
everybody knows.
but you don't know you know.
I don't
That's
know.
right.
Yeah, you will
You
when we
will.
tell you what it was.
Okay, tell me.
Did you ever get flowers that were inside the spongy green
Oh, no way.
Floracraft?
Yeah.
They also make
Craft foam too.
craft foam.
So you can
That's-
make fake, Christmas trees with like fake flowers.
Sure.
When your
I'm
kids have
telling
to
you.
do the planets,
The
and
solar
they have to make
system.
a solar system,
Yes,
and
yes.
it's those little foam. That's them.
Wow.
But like you said,
cool.
it's incredible because everybody's seen this stuff. Everybody's experienced it, right? But you don't know who makes it.
Or the
They make-
name.
Yeah, the name. Floracraft makes it for every hobby store in the country. So if you go to Hobby Lobby or Joann's or Michael's and you buy that green foam, that comes from that's their only factory.
I've been here 25 years.
Yeah.
Started in 2000, and over the course of a couple decades, I've really grown to love this company.
Yeah.
We always say that we're part of people's lives and their most important moments. So
Yeah.
you'll find our products at weddings, you'll find them at birthday parties, you'll find them at funerals. So all of the important moments in life, you'll usually find one of our pieces.
You're part of it.
We're part of it.
It's so
Sounds
big. I don't know
fun,
why they don't
Ludington.
have 10 of these factories around the country because they sell so much of this stuff.
Because
but
the factory there is huge.
it's huge.
Huge.
Yeah.
We were like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Good for them. Nobody else can go anywhere else.
Yeah.
It's perfect business.
Semis pulling in and out the whole time we were there.
And
It was
I was
huge.
worried because we have a big thing about microplastics now. I was really worried going in there and breathing in the place. They have this incredible air filtration system, and they recycle like 98%
Yeah.
of the dust that they create. That's the plastic dust. It's an incredible operation.
Yeah.
And the president who took us around was so nice. Like would have showed us everything, right?
No, he wouldn't have. Remember, we wanted to get into where the foam was, and he was like, not on my watch.
Oh, you mean
Because
where the actual
they-
source where they make
Where
the-
they make the
stuff blow up into foam.
Right.
Yeah.
He wouldn't show us that.
Was it proprietary?
Yeah, it was.
Oh, that's
Because
Which I
they
was
make a
like,
foam
well,
there.
okay.
They were the first place to invent a foam that could be made out of recycled plastic materials. So it's a big intellectual property thing about that.
I asked to see that stuff when it gets wet. You know, that kind of
Yes.
soppy
Yes,
stuff?
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
That's the
That's
stuff
kinda
I wanted.
fun to touch.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he was like, can't take you over there. Sorry.
Wow.
I was like, how fun are you, mister?
If they tell John McGivern no, you know nobody else is getting in
That's
there.
right.
Ludington was great. Lance, you did a great job again.
I loved
Thank you
it.
so much.
Thank you very
It was
much.
good. We have a shout out, of course, and it's Kathy Perkins, and she is from the state of North Carolina. Thank you. It doesn't play on her PBS station, does it?
No, but it plays on YouTube, and
It sure does.
Maybe she follows our Facebook and
Yeah.
listens to these podcasts, which is really fun, Kathy. Thank
Thank you,
you.
Thanks,
Kathy.
Kathy Perkins from North Carolina, and thanks you guys. It's always fun.
Thanks, John.
Thanks.
Want to wear something that's going to support your favorite show? Shop at Main Street Store. Proceeds go to help us get next season into production, so come on, go shopping at mainstreets.tv.